And tough loss this past Thursday against Coastal Carolina. It was tough on all of us. Our kids are giving us everything we ask them to do. We have practiced well, we compete, but it really comes down to two things. It's winning third down, both sides of the football. On offense, third and short, and defense getting off the field on third down. So we've refocused all of our attention to Marshall as we travel to Huntington, West Virginia. Coach Huff has his team playing at a high level. They're in the top 20 of every statistical category in team defense. So we'll have work cut out for us, but it's a challenge we look forward to.
David Ware, 24/7 Sports. Sean, after you had a chance to come back and watch film, were there kind of some milestone things that you felt like maybe tipped the game in one direction or another?
Yeah, we couldn't run the football on offense. That was evident at the game, and then evident when you watch the tape. I thought we probably should have taken more shots down the field. It was man coverage all night long. We threw some big passes down the field. It really opened the game up for us a little bit, opened the running game some. But again, go back to the third quarter. They had the ball for 8.5 minutes, the first drive of the second half, and we couldn't get anything going on offense. And our kids fought, have a chance to win at the very end, and then they converted on a 3rd and 10, and the game was over. So we have to make sure we kind of regroup, refocus, because it does not get any easier as we start Marshall Week.
When it comes to the running game, which has always been so consistently available here at App, you have the really good night against Georgia State where things are working. It didn't happen right away, but eventually it kind of clicked and you guys really ran over them the rest of the night. Are you seeing things, I guess beyond the obvious of another team putting 7, 8, 9 guys in the box, are there other things that are creating that inconsistency, and not getting you where you're looking to go?
No, there's such a fine line in the running game. And it's really how you fit up on defensive linemen, how you finish your block, how you get to the linebackers. And then a couple of those plays, we had an offensive lineman fall down, didn't use the right technique, and it creates negative plays. So, but when teams do that, to put more guy in the box, 8, 9 guys in the box, you have to be able to win outside. And that's where your throwing game has to open up. And again, we hit shots and we were 10 of 15 on passing on first down. But again, we have to be able to throw the ball to be successful if they're going to load the box. But that was one of our goals going to the game, was to be able to run the football, and we were not able to do that.
When it comes to the health of the team, obviously Trey Cobb had to leave that game early, looked like a recurrence of the same thing he's had going on. There were a couple of guys I know that didn't play. Ethan Johnson was dressed out but wasn't able to go. And then Andrew Parker, who we really didn't talk about last week, also was dressed out but didn't play. Can you address as much as you know about where Trey is, and then address those other 2 guys as well?
Yeah, Trey Cobb, he'll be out this week with a shoulder injury. Ethan Johnson, he's close to getting back. We don't take a chance in that game after another shoulder injury. And then Andrew Parker's fine. We have to play him more, and he will this week with Trey's injury. So other than that, I think we're fine. And we have some bangs and bruises, but this time of year, and we need more people to step up to be successful.
You talked a little bit about Marshall. It's hard to find, at least statistically speaking, an area where they're not playing well on defense. Very good against the run, really stuffed ODU this past weekend. Almost equally as good against the pass. That's tough to do. As you guys have gone through and kind of looked at who they are and what they're doing, what is it that's making them so successful on both the front and back end of that defense?
Really got great players that play very fast, and I look at all across the field they have athletes. So you look at, they're getting up 87 yards per game rushing, and they're first in a bunch of other categories. So we do a great job of really of being successful on first down and not getting in second and long, third and longs, be able to be those manageable positions. So I know Coach Barbay and the offensive staff were here late last night, early this morning. It's come with a great game plan, but again, they're playing at a high level on defense at Marshall, and you can really tell when they tackle, when they run the football, and they're playing with confidence and playing with speed. So again, it's going to be a huge challenge for us on Saturday.
And then flipping to the offensive side of the ball, that seems to be where their struggles are. Look, you take a win, especially when you shut somebody out, but 12 points this past weekend, obviously all field goals. I know they've been kind of back and forth between a couple of different quarterbacks. They're a run-first team as well. As you look at what they've been offensively, I think it's easy to maybe fall into the trap of, gee, they're not really scoring very much. It's not a great offense. And I know that probably scares you a little bit because you understand, that they could pop the top on that at any point. what is it they're trying to do offensively, and what is it that could make them dangerous?
Well, they've played two quarterbacks this year. One's more of a pocket passer. One's more of he's a zone read, can really beat you with his feet. I think they have two of the best running backs in the country. They have a big offensive line. The receivers don't get enough credit. Their tight ends block very well. They can beat you in space. I know Coach Trickett and all those guys at Marshall, know most of those guys personally, and I know they're good football coaches. And again, they're going to try to get the run game established, try to dink and dunk you a little bit, and throw some shots down the football field. But we have to be prepared for both quarterbacks. We have to be prepared for those two great running backs they have. And again, these kind of games are fun to play in. I know it's their 75th anniversary for the plane crash there, and it'll be a great atmosphere. It'll be a great crowd in Huntington.
Sean, given your history with that rivalry, and you were a vocal person even before they joined the league about how it's a good thing that App State and Marshall are playing, and just now that it's a conference game, I don't know if it feels any different, or just what does that feel like now to be playing where it's different stakes than maybe the non-conference games?
Well, it's a great program. And again, you look back from the Southern Conference days to their going to the MAC and Conference USA and coming to the Sun Belt. They've always had a winning tradition there. They have a very passionate fan base. We've had some great games against them in the past. I think our players realize now that this is a big game. Some of the young guys in 2020 didn't understand the magnitude of playing Marshall. We got beat in Huntington. We came back here and won at the very end last year. And again, I don't think both teams plan to be 5-4 here going into this week, week 11. But there's a lot to play for. Our kids are excited to play. We have a lot to play for to have a successful season. And so again, it'll be a tough challenge, but one we look forward to.
Would 95, I guess, rank up there among your favorite memories in the series, and just what kind of stands out if you're able to think back to that night?
Yeah, 95 was a great 10-3. It was a defensive battle. 96 wasn't as fun. They had this guy named Randy Moss that's still catching touchdowns out there in Kid Brewer right now. But just a great rivalry. And you talk about two great fan bases. They're passionate about their programs, and they expect to win. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. It's going to be a great atmosphere in Huntington, and I know our kids will be excited, and this is big-time college football.